If your last checkup came back clean, your blood pressure fine, your cholesterol within range, your doctor saying you're in great shape for your age, I need you to stop and watch this before you take that reassurance to bed tonight. Because that clean bill of health, it may be measuring the wrong thing entirely. What most doctors are telling people over 60 is that their age is just a number, a calendar date, something to accept gracefully. What the science of biological aging now tells us is something completely different. Your chronological age, the number on your birthday cake, and your biological age, how fast your body is actually deteriorating at the cellular level, can be years, sometimes more than a decade apart. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand biological age in a way your doctor's 15-minute appointment has never had time to explain. You're also going to know how to measure yours tonight for free in 5 minutes. My name is Dr. Kalb. I am board certified in internal medicine and geriatric care. I have been practicing for 31 years. I have seen more than 40,000 patients, and I can tell you with complete certainty that the standard annual physical, as it is currently designed, was never built to tell you how fast your body is aging. It was built to catch disease that is already there. That is not the same thing, not even close. Before we go any further, drop your age in the comments right now. Just your age, nothing else. Because what I am about to share applies completely differently depending on where you are in this second half of life. A 62-year-old and a 78-year-old are not the same body. The test works for both. But what it reveals and what you do with that is very different. And while you are down there, if you have ever felt that strange fatigue that is not quite tiredness, the kind of exhaustion that sleep does not fix, add the word heavy to your comment. You will understand exactly why I'm asking that in about 3 minutes. I want to tell you about a woman named Marian. Marian was 67. She was a retired school principal, sharp, stubborn in the best way. She walked 3 miles every morning before the neighborhood woke up. She kept a vegetable garden. She drove herself everywhere and intended to keep driving herself everywhere for another 30 years. Marian came to me after a referral. Her previous doctor had given her a clean bill of health 4 months in a row. Cholesterol, fine. Blood pressure, fine. Resting heart rate, textbook. Her chart read like a woman 20 years younger. But Marian kept describing that fatigue, the heavy kind, not tired, weighted. She said, I feel like I'm walking through wet cement by 2 in the afternoon. Her doctor had attributed it to normal aging. I asked Marian to take a simple functional test in my office. It took 4 minutes. I will describe that test to you in detail shortly, because it is one of the most revealing 4 minutes in geriatric medicine. Marian scored a biological age of 79. Her calendar age was 67. Her biological age was 79. That is a 12-year gap, and it was accelerating. What Marian's annual physicals had been measuring was static snapshots of blood values. What they had never measured was how efficiently her body was actually functioning, how well her cardiovascular system was delivering oxygen to her tissues, how her muscles were responding, how her nervous system was coordinating movement under mild stress. 6 months after we addressed that gap, and I will show you how, Marian retested. Her biological age had dropped to 71. She did not feel 67, but she felt herself again. She told me, I didn't realize how much I had already lost until I started getting it back. That question, why wasn't anyone measuring this before, is the reason I am making this video. Comment heavy right now if you have felt that weighted cement walk fatigue, because Marian's story may be your story, and you may not know it yet. What you have been told is incomplete. The message from mainstream medicine for the last 40 years has been this: age gracefully, accept some slowing down, keep your numbers in range, come back in a year. That message is largely reasonable for someone in their 30s or 40s. It is a reasonable holding pattern when you have decades of runway ahead of you. But something fundamental changes in the body after 60. The rate of biological change accelerates, and the gap between what your blood panel shows and how your body is actually functioning That gap widens fast. The guidelines most doctors are still using for evaluating health in older adults were built on population studies that measured survival and disease. They were not designed to answer the question of how fast you are aging right now. I am not going to give you your biological age yet because if I give you the test too early, some of you will take it, see the number, and stop watching. And that number, without the context that comes before it, could either alarm you unnecessarily or falsely reassure you. Neither helps you. So stay with me. What the research actually says. In 2013, a landmark study out of King's College London, the Twins UK cohort, more than 2,600 participants, published findings on what researchers called the biological clock. They identified epigenetic markers, chemical tags on DNA that accumulate with age, and they found something that should have changed clinical practice overnight. Chronological age and biological age diverge significantly in adults over 60, and that divergence, that gap, predicted disease, frailty, and mortality better than any single blood value. The headlines called it Scientists Discover How to Measure Aging, and they were right. What the headlines did not cover was who was excluded from the research. The Twins UK cohort was predominantly female, predominantly white, predominantly middle class British adults with regular healthcare access. People on multiple chronic medications were excluded. People with type 2 diabetes were excluded. People with cardiovascular disease were excluded. In other words, the people excluded were the people sitting in my exam room every single week. A second major paper, the Dunedin study out of New Zealand, published in 2015, tracking over 1,000 people from birth to age 38, found that biological aging was already measurable in young adults, and that those who aged fastest physically also showed cognitive and physical decline years earlier than their peers. The Dunedin researchers found that biological age, not chronological age, predicted how old people felt, how fast they moved, and how well they thought. Both studies pointed to the same gap. 31 years of practice has taught me this. Those trials answered an important question, but they answered it for a population that does not represent the majority of adults over 60 sitting across from me every week. That gap between the research population and the actual patient in the exam room, that is where Marion fell. She did not have a disease her doctor missed. She had an acceleration her doctor was not measuring. Why your body after 60 is not your body at 45. There are three physiological changes that make standard health metrics unreliable as aging indicators once you cross 60. I want you to understand each one. The first is what I call VO2 drift. Think of your cardiovascular system like a delivery network. When you are 45, the trucks are fast, the routes are clear, the oxygen arrives where it needs to go quickly. After 60, the routes get narrower, the trucks slow down, and the body compensates quietly, invisibly, in ways that keep your blood pressure reading normal while your actual oxygen delivery capacity declines. This is why Marion's numbers looked fine. The delivery system was deteriorating. The invoice was not showing it. The second change is muscle quality shift. After 60, you're not just losing muscle mass, which everyone knows about. You're losing the fast twitch fibers, the ones responsible for balance, reaction time, and recovery from a stumble. A blood test cannot see this. A BMI number cannot see this. Only a functional test can. This is the stumble that becomes a fall. This is why falls are the leading cause of injury related death in adults over 65. Not a blood panel failure, a muscle quality shift that was never measured. The third is nervous system lag. Imagine an old highway. The roads still exist, the destinations are the same, but the signals take a fraction of a second longer to travel. Coordination takes longer. Balance requires more concentration. And under mild physical challenge, the kind this test creates, the lag becomes measurable. This is the room spinning. This is the weighted cement walk. This is what Marion was describing. And it is not normal aging, it is accelerated aging. And it is reversible, but only if you know it is happening. Here is what I want you to do tonight. This is a validated composite functional test. It takes 5 minutes. You need a chair, a wall, and a watch with a second hand, or a phone timer. You will measure four things. Write all four results down. Step 1. The sit to stand test. Sit in a firm chair with no armrest, arms crossed over your chest. Stand fully upright, sit back down. That is one repetition. Do as many as you can in 30 seconds. Write that number down. What it measures: lower body strength, VO2 efficiency, fast twitch muscle response. Under 9 repetitions in 30 seconds for adults 60 to 69, your functional age in this measure is running 10 or more years ahead of your calendar age. Under 7, significant acceleration. See your physician. Step 2, the single leg balance test. Stand near a wall, do not hold it. Lift 1 foot off the floor, ankle height. Hold. How many seconds can you hold it before you touch down or grab the wall? Do both legs. Write both numbers. Under 10 seconds on either leg, early nervous system lag. Under 5 seconds, this is clinically significant. This is the stumble before the fall. Step 3. Grip strength proxy. Take a full water bottle, a 16-ounce bottle. Hold it at arm's length for 20 seconds without switching hands. Notice whether it shakes, whether you have to compensate, whether you feel it in your forearm or your shoulder. If you cannot hold it steady for 20 seconds, grip decline. Grip strength is one of the single strongest predictors of biological age, all cause mortality, and cardiovascular disease in adults over 60. A 2015 Lancet study, 140,000 participants across 17 countries, found that grip strength predicted mortality better than systolic blood pressure. Step 4. The resting heart rate after movement. Immediately after the sit to stand test, count your pulse for 60 seconds. Write it down. Then sit quietly for 2 minutes. Count again. If your heart rate is still above 90 beats per minute, 2 minutes after that mild exertion, your cardiovascular recovery is impaired. That is your delivery network showing you the lag. Now take those four numbers to your next appointment. Ask your physician to compare them to the normative data for your age group. That conversation is the one this test is designed to start. Comment the word test right now if you are going to do this tonight. I want to know how many of you take this step. Before I give you the framework, I need to ask you something directly. This channel exists because I believe adults over 60 deserve the same clinical information I give patients sitting in my office. Not simplified, not watered down, the real framework in plain language from a physician who has spent 31 years using it. We are working toward 500,000 subscribers. Every subscriber tells YouTube this information belongs in front of more people. More people means more families who have this conversation before a preventable decline becomes an irreversible one. If this video has given you something your doctor's appointment never has, please subscribe right now and like this video. It puts this information in front of the next person who needs it. That person may be someone you love. Here is the framework I use for my own patients. Find yourself in it. Tier 1. Adults 60 to 65, no chronic conditions, not on daily medications. Your target sit to stand score is 14 or above in 30 seconds. Single leg balance, 20 seconds or more on each side. Heart rate recovery, back below 75 within 2 minutes of mild exertion. If you are in this tier and your scores are below these thresholds, this is the best possible time to address it. You have the most runway. Functional decline at your age is more reversible than at any other point in this framework. I know those numbers look demanding compared to what most fitness articles tell you is normal for your age. But we are not targeting normal for your age. Normal for your age is the average of a population that is largely sedentary. We are targeting functional preservation. That is a different standard. Tier 2. Adults 66 to 72, 1 or 2 managed chronic conditions, on 1 to 3 daily medications. This is where the framework requires individual calibration. Your sit to stand target is 11 or above. Balance 15 seconds. Recovery below 80 within 2 minutes. Here is the critical nuance. If you are on a beta blocker, your resting and recovery heart rate is pharmacologically suppressed. A heart rate of 58 at rest on a beta blocker tells me almost nothing about your cardiovascular recovery capacity. I need to know your rate of return, not your floor. Bring that recovery data to your physician and ask them to interpret it in the context of your medication. Tier 3, adult 73 and older, or any adult with 3 or more chronic conditions or significant mobility history. Your targets are modified. Sit to stand 8 or above, single leg balance 10 seconds with hands available near a surface, recovery within 3 minutes. And for this tier, the test itself may need modification. If sit to stand causes pain or instability, stop immediately. The goal is measurement, not performance. Now let me show you how this plays out in practice. Patient 1, Robert, 68 years old, retired engineer, active gardener, sits down in my office, says he feels fine. His blood panel is unremarkable. I run this functional assessment. His sit to stand, 15. Balance, 22 seconds each side. Recovery, 70 after 2 minutes. Robert's biological age on this assessment, approximately 60. I sent Robert home. No intervention. I told him, whatever you are doing, keep doing it. Come back in a year. Patient 2, Carol, also 68. She is a retired teacher, takes a daily walk, eats well. Same blood panel as Robert, mostly unremarkable. Her sit to stand, 8. Balance, 7 seconds left, 11 right. Recovery, 94 after 2 minutes. Carol's biological age on this assessment, approximately 79. Same calendar age as Robert. Very different story. Carol is not sick, but Carol is aging fast. And without intervention, that gap widens every year. Same age walking in, different biological realities walking out. Because we are treating Carol, not the number on her chart. That is what this framework means in clinical practice. What to do with your doctor. If your physician has a plan for your health, I'm not asking you to discard it. I'm asking you to have a more specific conversation. Bring three things to your next appointment. First, your 4 number functional test results from tonight. Second, a 2 week movement log, not a workout log, a functional log. How many times did you go upstairs? How far did you walk? Did you feel unsteady? Did you feel that weighted fatigue? 2 weeks of real world functional data is more informative than one blood draw. Third, a symptom inventory. Three things to mention specifically: fatigue that sleep does not resolve, any new unsteadiness, especially when you change direction, and a sense that daily tasks take more concentration than they used to. These are not simply the facts of getting older. In the presence of common medications, beta blockers, statins, certain blood pressure medications, these symptoms may be your body telling you the treatment is affecting your functional capacity in ways that are not being monitored. Then ask this question directly. Given my age, my conditions, and my medications, is my biological functional age being tracked alongside my clinical numbers? A physician current with the research will engage that question. They may not have a perfect answer, but they will engage it. And the data you bring makes the conversation possible. Comment the words doctor visit right now if you are going to have this conversation at your next appointment. I know what some of you are thinking. If this matters so much, why isn't my doctor already measuring it? The honest answer: medical guidelines are slow. The research on biological aging has been building for over a decade. The clinical adoption is years behind. Physicians and 15-minute appointments are working from frameworks built on what we knew in 2005. The science of functional aging, of epigenetic clocks, of grip strength as mortality predictor, that data is in the journals. It is not yet in the standard annual physical checklist. That gap is exactly what this channel exists to close. I prescribed what I was trained to prescribe for 32 years. I ran the panels I was trained to run. And then I started seeing patients like Marian, and I started asking a different question. Not what disease do you have, but how fast are you aging, and can we change that? Those are not the same question, and they do not have the same answer. If this video gave you something real, please subscribe right now and share this with someone over 60 who has never had this conversation. Your parent, your sibling, your friend who just got a clean bill of health and went home satisfied. Share it with the person who is walking through wet cement by 2 in the afternoon and has been told that is just getting older. Your share may keep someone out of an emergency room. It may keep someone driving themselves to church for another decade. It may give someone back their morning walk. That is not an exaggeration. That is Marion's story. And it is preventable. I told you I would come back to Marion. After her assessment, we built a targeted program around her specific deficits, not a generic exercise routine, a protocol aimed at VO2 recovery, fast twitch reactivation, and nervous system recalibration. We adjusted one of her medications that had been quietly suppressing her mitochondrial function, a known side effect of long term statin use that her previous physician had not flagged as relevant. 6 months later, her sit to stand score went from 9 to 14. Her single leg balance went from 6 seconds to 17. Her recovery heart rate went from 96 after 2 minutes to 71. Her biological age dropped from 79 to 71. More importantly, she is back to her 3 mile morning walks. She is back to her garden. Her daughter called me, I am not exaggerating, to say that she got her mother back. Marion told me, I feel like I earned 8 years back. She did not earn them back. She reclaimed them. They had always been hers. Nobody had been looking for them. That is what the right approach to biological aging looks like. Not the guideline number, not the clean bill of health. The real question, how fast is your body aging right now? And can we change that? You now understand something the standard 15-minute appointment has not made time to tell you. You know that chronological age and biological age are not the same thing, and that the gap between them is measurable, meaningful, and changeable. You know that the three physiological mechanisms driving accelerated aging after 60, VO2 drift, muscle quality shift, and nervous system lag, are invisible to standard blood panels but visible to functional assessment. You know that landmark research on biological aging excluded the people who needed it most: older adults on medications with chronic conditions, the people most likely to be watching this video. You know how to measure your own biological age tonight using 4 functional tests that cost nothing and take 5 minutes. You know the tiered framework that matches your results to your age and health profile, and what to bring to your doctor to start the conversation. You are not a number on a chart. You are a person with a specific body, a specific history, and a specific rate of aging that deserves a specific answer, not a generic reassurance. The 5 minute test is the beginning of that answer. Take it tonight. I will see you in the next video.